Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Southern Woods and Waters. Hope you're all having a great evening in the house tonight with your family and friends. We've got a show for y'all tonight. It's going to be for just about everybody. We're going to talk about multiple things, but the focus tonight will be fall transitions. And we got our good buddy Chris Snow here in the house with us tonight from Snow Spin Baits. And we're going to be talking all about the transition that's going to be happening as we leave these summer months and we head into the fall months, and our temperatures are dropping and our water's pulling, and these fish, they start getting into a completely different pattern. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're actually going to take you also over to a trip on Old Hickory Lake with Dayton and I, and Deacon and Archie got out and had a big time. So just a lot to talk about tonight in the fall fishing world. So we can go ahead and pan out. And
you know who else was there? I ain't seen in a long time. Who is it? Richard, the cameraman, was there.
He was there that day, and we even had to announce it.
I ain't gonna check my watch, see how long ago that's been.
It's been a few weeks now, but I hear Richard's down. He's down filming in down in the coast right now. He's in Florida, down in Tampa. He's done forgot all about us for a week. So.
Absolutely, I know how he is.
Hopefully, we'll have him back soon. But Chris, thank you so much for being here tonight. All you guys are probably familiar with Chris, and he runs Snow Spin Baits and always fishing somewhere. But you spend most of your time on Center Hill. You spend a lot of time on Del Holland, some other lakes as well. But Chris, you catch these fish year round. But right now, we're fixing to hit a major transition point. I mean, it's been hot. Of course, it's terribly dry. Just about anywhere you are in the state, it's been terribly dry. But our temperatures are starting to come down. They're going to start pulling some water soon. There's a lot of things going on as far as in the fish world. So what I want to hit on a little bit tonight is just what are some of the first things that people need to be looking for, you know, that, hey, it's fixing to start happening. Is it a particular temperature? Is it particular water temperatures you're looking for? Length of day? What is it really going on?
To tell you the truth, the fish are really still feeding at night right now. Some of the best bags I've ever caught on Center Hill have been October nighttime fishing, but the daytime's a little tough. It's I like the water temperature to get below 70 degrees, then kind of a top water bite will start a little bit, but right now, I use my electronics an awful lot. I start in the middle of the creeks, on to the backs of the creeks. I look for shad. You can see them flickering on top. You can see them 100 foot deep. You can see them 10 foot deep or whatever. But there's different ways to catch them. I usually start out top water first thing, a couple hours of the morning. Then as the sun comes up, the fish will actually, the bait will actually move out, and they'll suspend up
even day to day. You know, every day they're going to come in and come back out.
You know, with this forward-facing sonar we got now, buddy, I can find them. They can't hide now.
Right.
I mean, they
may or may not eat, but you're going to figure out where they're at.
Yeah.
And we want to touch on something in a little while about Center Hill, and me and Chris and us will get on that about all the trees.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you know, we're used to fishing 15, 20 foot deep gravel bar. Well, there ain't no gravel bar. There's full-size trees and stuff. So a lot of stuff's changed. We'll get into.
Completely different structure in that lake now than it was,
you
say,
definitely lose
15
a lot
years
of hooks
ago.
and sinkers now.
That's right. Yeah, you got to have some good plug knockers, don't you? I promise. You can ask my buddy Gerald. You got to have some good plug knockers. But again, these fish, they are starting to transition. They're coming in a little more shallow, a little longer throughout the day, and that's going to continue to change as we go through the next few weeks.
Yeah, on up to Thanksgiving.
Well, you know, all the minnows are going in the backs of the creeks.
Yep.
I'm like, I don't care really what lake you're on. If you go to Old Hickory Lake, Priest, Center Hill, fish that lakes are a little shallower. When you get in the backs, man, it is just thousands of minnows.
It looks like it's boiling.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. And it's that way below our dams right now, like below Cordell Hole and Old Hickory Dam. Right there before dark and stuff, man, they're skipjacking shad by the thousands.
And that's what's going on. That's what's really drawing these fish in. It's not that the temperatures drop. You know, we like to go to the
finally cooled the water off.
The bait's coming in these areas, and these fish follow them in.
Yeah,
it's like Chris said.
One thing you got to remember: not every fish in the lake goes to the back of the creek. I still catch a lot of fish out on the main channel.
Yeah,
this time of year.
They are where you find them.
Yes.
You know, they are where you find them.
That's right. And a lot of fish won't go to the back of the creeks, like you said. They'll stay there. Their fish are stationary. You have a few wild fish that move around, but Chris knows what he's talking about. I'm telling you.
You got the thing is, the fish are in general though following the bait in, or following the bait wherever they're going. I don't care if the bait's 60 foot deep or it's 6 foot deep. Wherever the bait is, that's where you're going to find these fish, especially right now. And they move in and out. But as we get into, you know, let's say our water temperature is 60 to 70. We've gotten down below that mark at that point in time. You know, do you change anything about your presentations at that point in time? Are you starting to change up your baits, or maybe go to, you know, a different setup, a smaller setup?
My magic water temperature is 58 degrees on Center Hill. That's when the bait. That's when the bait is at its deep. It's 5-6 foot up off the bottom. That's what you want to see.
Yeah.
You can, with the electronics we got today, man, you can actually just see them streaking like crazy through there. And that's when I go to a jig and spoon most of the time, and a drop shot.
Yeah. And you've got some examples tonight that we'll show here in a little while. Some baits you brought with you to show some of the things you use and some of the colors.
Know, like our reservoirs, like Center Hill and all that. In the wintertime, they pull these lakes down. They take a lot of the water out of them for flooding over the winter. So you've eliminated half the lake. So anytime you can go to the lake in the wintertime at winter pool, use your Navionics and idle around and look for stuff. When the lake comes back up to fish in the summer.
It comes in real handy in the springtime.
I mean, in the springtime and the summer, when the lake comes up, you've already been over there and looking, and, you know, there's a big difference.
It really is. It makes all the difference in the world, really. So, as far as baits go, and you said you go to a drop shot. You like to? Do you go anything? Do you go to a slower presentation? Is that basically what you're doing? Kind of going to a drop shot? Are you slowing down by doing that, or does it really matter? They still seem to be just as a.
If I'm seeing fish this far up off the bottom, I keep my. I'll show you right here. I keep my drop shot about a foot from the sinker, and if they're suspended up in the water column, I like to move it up to about a 2 foot. I think you get more bites that way.
Right. But that right there is basically you're planning on that being on the bottom. Your weight being on the bottom.
I just bounce it up off the bottom. Sometimes I'll just drag it. It just depends. Every day's different. And but I'll tell you one thing: when Berkeley come out with that flatworm, that's
a game changer,
right? Because you see it on TV every weekend. The guys up north just whacking them on that thing, and it works on Center Hill.
Well, I was starting to say it's as realistic as it gets. Some of these plastics now are getting. Just very
so he's moving his bait as deep as he sees the fish on the graph.
So you basically just follow him.
I can watch this drop shot fall all the way to the bottom. I can sit there and I can play video games with them.
It's pretty amazing.
You can watch them bite it most of the time.
That's right.
But now I've got the live scope on my boat and I can see it in real time. It's just
so
automatic.
Now what about when you didn't have all that?
It's just plumb crazy.
I know. What about when you didn't have that? You remember the old days we had the flasher?
We just used the flasher.
That's right. And now it's crazy how technology's taking it.
We seen it light up red. We knew we was in the right spot.
That's right.
Turn around, drop and bark, and come back to it.
That's right.
Well, guys, let's go over and do this week's wild game forecast. This week's Wild Game Forecast is being sponsored by our friends over at Wilson Bank and Trust. You guys can stop in at one of over 30 Middle Tennessee locations and take care of all your banking and financial needs, and be sure to tell them thank you for all they do for us here at the show. All right, guys. Well, you're pretty warm right now, but your forecast as far as coming into the weekend, that coming week, we've actually got a cold front that's moving in here, and I think that's going to be good for everybody. Hopefully it's going to...
You got your fishing arm on.
I got my fishing arm on.
You ain't gonna get
That's
the,
right. But now for the deer hunters, I mean, the deer have really, a lot has changed in the last couple of weeks, and these temperatures, cold temperatures in the mornings, have got them, you know, starting to run around and act like bucks. You know what I mean? They're starting to push around a little bit. I think this Saturday morning, especially, will be real good, and Sunday morning real good. Both for cold fronts go ahead just right in the middle of the weekend.
Let me ask you something while I'm thinking about this. I have trouble catching bass in the fog. Do deer really like moving in the fog, or will they?
They don't seem to mind it if it's not too thick. No, if it's extremely thick, no, they don't like it.
Right.
You know, I guess they feel more danger.
I just have trouble catching fish on a real foggy morning.
A thin fog, they'll move around in it pretty good, but not a thick one. Well, guys, we want to remind y'all to follow us on Facebook. Keep up with us there. Send us all your stories and pictures. We'll try to do the same for you. Also, check us out at swwtv.com. We'll be right back here in just a minute with this week's Pictures of the Week and some more Southern Woods and Waters.